Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, Slasher Movie Club, Coriander.
Hey.
It's 2022, first
Yep.
episode of the new year. And what a way to bring in the new year. We're going to be talking about Splatter University from 1984, starring
Mm-hmm.
Forbes Riley. So, hey, this is going to be
Yep.
fun. This is going to be fun. Let's see who we have in the chat. And then we got some housekeeping, and then we'll go from there. Let's see. We got Patrick. Patrick's in the chat saying this looks excellent. Grabbing some coffee now. Wow, man. I wish I had some
Nice.
coffee too. Thanks, man. My man
Oh,
Junebug's in the
no.
chat saying second. All right. Mr. Dan's saying, I have my coffee
All
too. Let's get
right.
splattery. You guys are all right. You got your coffee sitting back. All right, man. Flamethrower's in the chat saying, I was howling. I was the howling dude at the gas station. Yeah, he
Nice.
was something else, man. Jennifer's in the chat. What's going on, Jennifer? Saying hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right. My man Neil is in the chat saying, you know, you're talking to a real movie fan if you can describe something as Troma style and they know what you mean. Right. Yes.
Yeah,
It's,
man.
it's so
That
true.
music, let me tell you, that is total trauma.
It is
Oof.
so true. All right. So now this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to do a couple things a little differently. First of all, I want to say welcome to the new year. We got a lot of great things planned, especially for this series, doing some different things. We hope you guys enjoy it. We hope you guys continue to
Yeah.
support it, pass the word around. This has been a really fun um, kind of side series that we just took a chance on, talking about these more obscure movies, and
Yeah.
they're a lot of them are blind watches. That
Hmm.
also being said, Coriander, I want to just take a moment, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention. I just want to just just say rest in peace to Betty White. Um,
Yeah.
just a legend,
Hmm.
an icon, and for a lot of people,
She
myself
was.
included. Yeah,
Yeah.
for a lot of people, myself included, there were many Saturday nights that my parents were watching the Golden Girls, and
Right.
so, and of course, her career has spanned so much more than that.
Yeah.
She was just such a funny lady, and I just wanted to
So
just take a
cute
moment.
too.
Adorable,
Yes.
so adorable.
Right?
She's the type of lady that that if you ever had the chance to have met her, you would have just had a good time. She was that funny.
Yes.
She was
Yep.
that amazing as
Down to
far as her
earth.
personality.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, anyways, I just want to take a second to say that, and she truly will be missed. But I do want to say, I'm so happy to have been someone that saw her, when her status, was at probably its height, with the Golden Girls,
Yeah.
and she has a huge career of things that we can look back on and have a lot of laughs. And at the end of the day, man, it's good having some laughs. We all need to laugh
Yeah.
more in our lives. So thank you so much to
Hmm.
Betty White. Um,
Yeah.
let's see, we got Jake. Jake's in the chat. What's up, man? Saying good
Hello.
evening. What's going on, man? Uh, Dan saying refreshing after some kung fu fighting, Jennifer. All right. And Jennifer is saying trauma rules. I knew you'd say that, Jennifer. I knew you'd say that. All right.
Some of their movies are okay, but some are not so good.
Okay. All right. Flamethrower is saying I always liked her, but loved her after Lake Placid. Yeah, Betty White was amazing in
Yeah.
Lake Placid. There's no doubt about that. Very much so. We got Miss Carter too in the chat saying, "Hey Knight, hey Coriander, I watched this one
Hello.
today, and it was a real stinker. If you ask me, rest in peace
Yeah.
to Betty White." All right, so let's get into this thing, man.
Yeah.
This movie from 1984, there's a lot of
Hmm.
behind the scenes stuff with it, and you guys know that we try to talk about some of those things too, because I like to think of the overall picture of a movie. But let's just go from
Yeah.
what we saw. Splatter University, this is a blind watch. I had heard of it before,
Ooh,
Coriander.
Blind Watch is right.
It was a very much so a blind watch. And it's funny because it's a very um straight on story. It's basically
Definitely.
a patient escapes from a mental hospital. He goes on a killing spree. 3 years later, you have this teacher that comes in who's working at the school, and she's just trying to
Was
find
it
her
three
way.
years later?
Well, maybe we exactly. That was one of the most that was one of the most confusing timestamps I've ever seen in the movie because it said the next semester and then underneath of it
Right.
yesterday. And I'm like, and this was after the first killing in the movie. Well, let's back up. Let's back up. The mental patient escapes. Okay, he
Mm,
kills this guy, which was kind of, it was all right. Those scenes were kind of played a little bit goofy, but anyways, we see this teacher that gets killed, and
yeah.
it's like, okay, so that happens, and then it shows the campus, and it says the next semester, and then underneath of that it says yesterday, and I'm like, what? Wait a minute, what? When was this? Was this?
Yeah.
You know, I have
Yeah.
never seen anything more confusing than that. All they needed to
Yeah.
do is say next year or 1 year later. Like, what happened to those
That would have
days?
made a little more sense,
Right.
but
Oh my god.
anyway, to
Anyways,
continue on.
all right.
Right.
So already you know what you're getting into. Now,
Yeah.
we have a couple of things going on here. We are introduced to the main lead in the movie,
Hmm.
played by Forbes Riley. Her name is Julie Parker, and she comes in, and she's going to be a teacher. You can tell that she's
Her first job.
her first job and all
Yeah.
of that, and it's like, okay, I can deal with that. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
She has her meeting with one of the faculty, basically
The
one of the
dean.
the
Yeah.
deans, and it's a
Mm.
pretty cool conversation going back and forth. Now, first of all, I want to say this too. These two in the movie, right off the bat, these two gave the best performances in the movie. Now, you can look at that as a good thing, or you can look at it as a bad thing because we're only about 7 minutes into the movie. Okay. First of all, what did you think of Forbes Riley as Julie?
Yeah, she was probably the most interesting character out of
Mm-hmm.
the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
she wasn't bad. I really can't complain too much about her.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We see her in her first class that she's giving, and she's a cool character. She really seems earnest. She wants
Yeah.
to teach these kids. And of course, they're a bunch of knuckleheads. We knew that was going
Yes.
to happen. Um,
Right?
a- and then I want to get into, okay. And again, guys, you guys know how we do this. We're just talking about our thoughts on the movie. The the kids in the movie, once you started to get kind of into that part of it, you meet the kids.
Hmm.
Someone referenced the guy who's the wolf. He's howling every 5 minutes. This guy right here, this guy in the blue tank
Yeah,
top.
man.
And okay, whatever. You got to have some interesting characters. Um, but none of them, maybe except for this chick here in the red, she had a little bit of an arc, that we see a little bit
Yeah.
later on in the film. But
Yeah.
the other kids, they they were just,
They're
I don't
just
know.
they were
For
just people to kill.
they were but here's the thing, Coriander, and
Not.
spoilers. Here's the thing. Spoilers, but the
Oh
guys don't
man.
get killed. This guy right
Yeah,
here,
they're
this
like
guy,
wasted characters.
yeah, usually in a horror. So okay, so this is the thing, guys. Usually in a horror movie, if you have characters that are annoying or whatever, or they do stupid shit, they get killed. Not in this movie. This guy right here in the blue sweater, for whatever reason, I just couldn't get on board with him either. But that's here and there. So, anyways,
Yeah.
Julie is trying to get used to this new job. She's trying to be a good teacher, teach her students, and she had a couple
Hmm.
good scenes in the classroom. I was really digging it. Um, but then we get to, I think it's one of the first kills. You got the group of guys, and look, I know it's 1984, and whatever, but these guys, they were just a bunch of jackasses, man. They really
Yeah.
were. Like,
And the music
sometimes.
that was throughout this movie,
Uh-huh.
oh man. I mean, come on. Like we all
Oh,
say, music can make a horror movie that much better. And this
yes.
stupid fucking music that they played, like throughout the whole thing, was just ridiculous. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah, it
But
didn't
like we
really
all
do much for
said,
me.
you know, that's a Troma movie.
Yeah.
The Lloyd
It
Kaufman, they played, you got that music.
Hmm.
those actors,
Hmm.
that are just in it that really can't act, and
Hmm.
yeah, like I
Now,
said,
and
they. Oof, anyway, go ahead.
well, what I was going to say, and the thing of it is that we've seen movies where, it's maybe a filmmaker's first movie or one of their first efforts. And we've seen
Yeah,
some movies, kind of go one way or the other. So I don't really
mm,
have an issue with that because we've seen low budget movies
totally.
that really did an effective
They were
job with what
good.
they had, or at
Yeah.
least they had did an effective job what they had. This movie
Yep.
had this movie had peaks and valleys, as Killian
Mm,
talks about peaks and valleys. Again, Julie Parker, played by Forbes Riley, was easily the best thing in this movie, easily, and that's a good thing because she's the lead, she's the final girl, so
yeah.
that does bode well for it. Let me just catch up to the chat real quick too, because I see these guys doing a little talking. Jake saying, not too much, man. I just had to join this conversation tonight. Splatter University has always been one of my favorites.
Oops.
All right. All
Okay.
right. This is what I love about the chat, too. We get different opinions. Miss Carter saying, I wish I was blind watching it. Okay. Oh,
Oh no.
gosh, Miss Carter.
Good one.
Oh, and Miss Carter, where did you see it? Do you have it physically or did you stream it? Let me know. I'm very curious. Jennifer saying, mine too, Jake. It's very underappreciated. All right.
Aw.
Dan talking
Well, I'm
about
glad you guys like it.
yeah, Dan talking about Peter Dinklage as the Toxic Avenger in the remake. That would be really, really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, very cool. Jake
Toxic
saying,
Avenger was a good one. The
yep,
first one.
yep. Jake saying, I bought this on Blu-ray. It was definitely worth buying since I hadn't seen it in years. All right.
Mm,
Smells like Teen Horror in the chat saying, heard about this movie a few years ago because of the YouTube channel Good Bad Flicks. All right.
nice.
Jake saying that guy was so obnoxious and annoying. I thought, what the hell is up with the wolf calling? Laugh out loud. I know, man. It was a weird. It was like,
He's calling the ladies.
oh, yeah, but it
That's what he
was,
was doing.
yeah. Well, they're not answering. But
Right.
flamethrower saying they
Oh
are
my
red
god.
herring victims. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Jennifer saying, hey, the guys are like horsehead bookends to keep the girls
Oh
together. To get
no.
that was great, Jen. That was great. Shout out to student bodies, right? All right. So look, so this is where we're going with this thing, man. We go to first of all, let's talk about. I think it's really the first kill in the present time of the movie's, story, where that
Yeah.
one girl, she
Yeah.
gets.
This was so stupid.
I didn't get this one, Coriander, because she
Yeah.
gets her
Her
forehead
forehead
cut.
slit. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like, how
and
is that gonna fucking kill you?
well, not only that, but it's like it didn't look like a deep enough cut. I know, they probably have budget
Exactly.
limits and things like that, but look, man, as soon as it was happening, I my immediate reaction was, "Oh, she might live through this." You know what I mean? Because it was the forehead and not the throat. And we saw throat slits in the movie, which
Yeah.
a couple of them were very effective. So I'm just wondering why they did
Right.
this because it just didn't
I
make sense,
don't know. It didn't.
It didn't. And then, of course, we have the drive-in scene where
Mhm.
this guy was the number one grade A dirt bag. I mean, good God, man. Look, and again, guys, we're just having fun with this. But and I know, especially with these 80s slashers, these early 80s slashers, you got to have those characters that are just so out there, right? But
Yeah.
this guy, I mean, he's trying to make a move on his girlfriend. Now, at this point, we realize that she's pregnant.
Mhm.
She had to go to, get a checkup. She had talked to Julie about
Yep.
her issue. You confided in
Mhm.
her teacher. And again, this was a great scene also where Julie was really good as a teacher, trying to help her student, trying to help her with this big issue. But anyways, so she just, she decides to go to the drive-in with her boyfriend. And it's not a horrible scene. We see other students that are just trying to, make out and this and that, and that's fine. But it wasn't a bad scene, but once she got out, the pregnant girl, she got out of the car because she didn't want to fool around with her boyfriend and he got pissed off and he gets out of the car. All of a sudden, they're at a drive-in. All of a sudden, it looked like their car was the only car in the entire planet. Like there was nothing around them. And I'm like, how is that possible? You're at a drive-in, But whatever.
Yeah.
It's movie logic. So he goes
People are
off
too
in
busy, making out
yeah, but look,
to pay
but
attention.
I'm saying there's no cars around them whatsoever. I don't know
They
what type of
parked in a secluded area. There was like what, three cars when they pulled into that
well,
place.
then it
So it
must have
wasn't
been
very busy.
well, yeah, okay. It was the worst movie of all time that they're watching.
All
But
right.
anyways, he goes
Oh
off
no.
in the woods and then she gets out and she's looking for him, calling out his name and she gets killed. Let's just get
Mm,
that out of the way. But she gets her throat slit. That was actually a pretty effective kill. I thought that was pretty good.
yeah.
And I actually felt bad for her because she was one of the few characters other than Julie that actually had a little bit of an arc. She was pregnant
Mm,
and she didn't seem like she was just a piece of crap, you know what I mean, as a character, as a person. She actually seemed
yeah.
like a fairly decent kid. But anyways, what did you think of that scene at the drive-in, the way that the kill was crafted and the practical effect and stuff like that?
I mean, out of the kills in this movie, this one was pretty good. It wasn't the best, but I mean, she gets her throat slit and he like
Yeah,
drags she went into the woods and he drags her and I guess there was some blood,
yeah, yeah.
but hey man, it is what it is.
It is
So,
what it is.
yeah.
Flamethrower saying Dusty Rhodes was proof that the forehead is very durable. That's right. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. I love it. Wrestling shout out. We got Marion in the chat saying, "Hey y'all, what's going on? How you doing,
Hello.
Marion?" Patrick saying, "Ric Flair as well." Yes, Ric Flair was able to take a hell of a lot of punishment, and yeah, woo! You guys are too funny. Don't get me started on wrestling because I'm a huge wrestling fan. But anyways, so yeah, so she gets killed. It's too bad. And then it look, here's the bottom line. The story, nothing in the movie really matters except for what Julie is, other than the pregnant girl. Nothing else really matters except what Julie is doing. And she is basically learning about the killing, the murder that
She's
happened.
just kind of like a boring character too, you know?
You mean Julie?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
With
didn't think
the
so?
well,
I
I
mean,
you
all you
you
do is she's in her classroom,
right.
she's sitting on the bleachers, or
Hmm.
she's driving her car, and
Yeah.
it just,
Well,
I
there
don't
was
know,
there was there was not much story or arcs going on in this movie in any way, shape, or form. But she was easily,
right?
the best thing in it to me, anyways. But she also meets this other teacher named Mark, and he seems kind of odd. He has a weirdness about him, and of course, they're playing it up because they're making you wonder who the killer is because the killer is still at large. She realizes that a murder happened in her classroom before she got there, yada yada yada, and they're playing it off also with all of the other faculty, the priest. All of them seem weird or pervs. It's just really crazy. She's also got a landlady. She's really weird. She's always talking about murder and death and what'd you think of her?
I just thought of her as a nosy friggin' landlord,
Right. Yeah.
always there, always, oh, what you doing today? And,
Right, right, right.
so.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, you gotta love it. Anyways, so at this point, it's really coming down to like I'd say what three possible killers. You've got Mark, you've
Mm.
got the priest who's like pervy with all the girls, and then you've got the
Right?
right. You saw him, right? And then
How could you not?
right, and then you've got your boy here who look and he was good, man. He was good and he was trying to help her out, but obviously, he's got to be in the running as well, and they're playing it all up. So it just kind of goes on and on. But I will say one cool scene
Hmm.
was once she was at home, she's trying to figure out what to do with this guy Mark, right? And she decides with her buddy to go to his apartment and
Oh,
check
it's so
out.
stupid.
It was stupid, but at least it was something, Coriander. I'm reaching.
Was it something? Oh, okay. I'll let
I'm
you
I'm
reach then.
I'm reaching. She decides to
Okay.
go to his apartment and check
Yeah.
out his place because he was a suspect in the killing, the previous killing.
Mm.
from a semester ago, a semester yesterday ago, whatever it
Yeah.
was called. So
Right.
they go,
Yesteryear.
yeah, they go to his apartment, and Julie's the one that goes inside. She opens up his desk drawer. He's got all these newspaper articles, with the slasher strikes again and all this type of
Yeah.
stuff. And so obviously they're really painting him as the killer,
Yeah,
which of
they
course,
are.
when I see that, I'm like, he's not the killer. This is way
Right.
too easy. The other
Yeah.
thing too is, as the movie's going on, some more of the girls get killed. You got that one chick that you said was kind of like Tiffany from the
Yeah.
80s. She's
Ah,
she's pretty promiscuous. But one thing about the killer that we saw a lot is you would see the knife come out, and the knife would
mhm.
always come towards the camera. Although I
Yep.
will say this kill kind of caught me off guard because he stabs her right in the throat. It was like, oh, okay. And that was it. Then it cuts. So
Yeah.
obviously, again, budget restrictions and
Exactly.
stuff like
Woohoo.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Move on.
yeah, exactly. So we've got that scene where her best friend and Julie, they separate, and then someone says, "Oh, well, there's something going on in one of the rooms or whatever." Julie looks, and guess who she finds? Coriander. She finds
Her
her best
buddy.
friend killed,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, okay, so obviously this is just setting up. it- It's dominoes. The story is just
Mm.
so straightforward that you almost know what's going to happen before it happens.
And you forgot when she was like the best part in that when she well, she got the keys to what was his name? Mark
Mark.
to his
Mhm. His
apartment
apartment.
and yeah, and went in and
Mhm.
she left like those papers out. She didn't put anything back in the desk because Mark came home
Right?
and she had to run out of there.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man. So you knew like and he gets in, he looks around, he sees newspapers, and then he oh, I'm gonna check out the window and you see her getting in the car and it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
bad
Yeah,
move.
yeah, I mean, it's like, come on, man. You gotta be better than that, man. True, you gotta be better than that. Uh Jennifer saying there is
Mhm.
never any non-odd people in a Troma movie. That's a good
So
point,
true.
Jen. That's a good point, Jen. So let's just get to the ending of this thing, man. So Mark knows that Julie was sneaking around in his apartment, and
Hmm.
he basically tries to get in touch with her. He comes to her apartment, and she opens the door, and the way that the camera angle is showing her backing up, obviously they're trying to paint him as the killer. I knew he still wasn't the killer at that point, although I will say this, I kind of thought there might have been a twist, like maybe there were two, maybe someone else was involved with the main killer. But anyways,
Really?
she
You thought there were two
well
killers?
well, no, I'm
Wow.
just saying at this point I think I was just trying to, in my mind, just trying to make it more than what it could be. But anyways,
Gotcha.
she
Oh
hits him
man.
up. She hits him over the head. She runs out. She gets in touch with the priest and is like, "Yeah, I know who did it. It was Mark." And da da da. Da. Of course, he says, "Well, come to the school." It's after hours, by the way. He's like, "Come to
Yeah.
the school. I'll keep the east side wing open." Blah blah blah. And it's like, all right, come on, we
Mhm.
we already know where this is gonna go, man.
Yep.
This is just bad. She also comes upon one of the other faculty that got killed, and that's the
In the
same old
bathroom.
thing in the
Yeah.
bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so she goes into the priest's office and is like, blah blah blah, and he basically says, "Hey, it's me." I mean, he doesn't say it, but he's the killer. Now, here's a funny thing I want to say. Now, people, obviously, that's the spoiler. But if you did not see that coming, and if you're a slasher fan or horror movie fan, I don't even know what to say. But here's the worst thing about it, Coriander. The trailer for the movie, I would play it right now, but it's not even worth me doing it. The trailer for the
Uh-huh.
movie actually shows the priest with the knife in his hand chasing Julie.
What?
They showed him as the killer.
Are you wow. See, I
Yep.
haven't seen the trailer,
Yep.
so
And guess
wow.
what? They did it more
Hmm.
than once. It was like 3 or 4 times. They literally showed him, like, as the killer. Like, and
Damn.
it's like a minute and a half trailer. I couldn't believe it. And this was the original trailer from back in
Wow.
1984. I couldn't even believe it. So, but
Hmm.
the more I think about it, the fact of who the killer was, I don't think that was the biggest thing. Like, it was pretty easy to see that, yeah, as you're watching the movie. You even guessed it really early on, right? But the ending, I will say, was different than what I thought it would be. So here's the even bigger
Yeah.
spoiler,
The
because
ending was, yeah. The ending
he
was not bad.
yeah, he chases Julie throughout,
Yep.
the hallways and this and that. And there were some wacky shots of him as he's walking. He's got the
Mm.
knife and it's coming towards the camera. And by the way, he was portrayed as wheelchair bound in the movie.
Yeah,
And
he was.
obviously at the end he talks about how he was given the strength by the Lord to stand up and blah blah. He
Oh,
stands up.
please.
It's a little
Right?
cringeworthy. But anyways, he's chasing her and she gets into an elevator, and you think that there's a chance she gets away, because Mark, he comes to, after she hit him over the head in her apartment, he comes to, and he figures out where she's at, and he says it too. He's like, oh no, she's at the school with him. He runs
Hmm.
to the school. He's trying to find her. He's in the hallways too. By the way, this must have been the biggest school on the planet, because the hallways just go on and on forever. So, anyways, long story short, you think she's going to get away. You know what I'm saying? But she doesn't.
Yeah.
She goes down in this elevator, and you think she's getting away from him. He can't run very well because it looks like he's still, I don't know if he's still, I don't know. Anyways, it
Well,
doesn't,
there are
he's not very
scenes where he's
fast.
hobbling, and then there was a
Yes.
scene where he wasn't. So
Yeah. But either way, it's not like he's not that fast.
super
And she's
fast.
she's
Right.
going down a couple of floors, right? You think
Hmm.
she's going to get away. All of a sudden the elevator opens up and he's right there. And I'm like, okay. And he puts his arm around her, and they struggle. And I'm like, she's going to get away. This thing is going to go on for at least another couple minutes. No, he stabs her right in the back, cuts up her
Yeah.
spine. She's
Hmm.
dead. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? The final girl is dead. And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn. And again, I will say this about this movie. One, I was invested in her as a character because she was easily the best thing in this whole movie. And two, I really thought she was going to get away. I mean, that's
Yeah.
usually what happens in movies. So the fact that
It
she
didn't really
didn't,
phase me. If
well,
anything, it was like, all right.
no, jeez. Well, I know, but I'm just saying you didn't expect it, right? We talked about that. You didn't expect her to
Yeah.
die. Yeah, that's what I'm
No.
saying.
Who?
So
Yeah. Right.
yeah, so that's the thing. It just caught me off guard. Um, Now let me just catch up to these guys here too. Patrick saying, channeling Scream again. Yeah, Scream 2 did mention this movie, right? That's too funny. We got Denisha. Denisha's in the chat saying, hey, Nightwatch Zone and Coriander. I see y'all on my
Oh.
birthday. Thanks, guys. Hey, happy
Oh,
birthday.
nice. Happy birthday.
Yeah, nice. Have a happy birthday. We're happy you stopping by. Um,
Right.
Let's see. Marianne saying wrestling was so real to me as a preteen back in the 80s, right? It was real to all of
Back
us.
then, that was awesome shit. Wrestling in the 80s, the Hulk, you
Yep.
had the
Yeah.
dude and the Princess Bride, what was his
Andre
name?
the Giant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I mean, those were the days.
Yeah. Jake saying, I always hate it when they show the killer in the trailers. It's like, what's the point of watching the movie if you already know who the killer is,
Exactly.
right? That's what I'm saying, Jake. The
Boo.
trailer shows him with a knife in his hand. They show him running after Julie. They even show him at the end when the title screen shows Splatter University. He has this evil look on his face. It's like you're literally giving away the whole movie.
Yeah.
Not that I think that was the biggest twist in the movie. I think the biggest twist in the movie is that the final girl died and died fairly easily, so who knows, man. We got Blucka's in the
That
chat
just
saying
tells you she
hello.
deserved it.
Hello,
Hey.
Night Watch and Coriander. All right, let's see. Jake saying, I was shocked that Julie died. I definitely thought she was going to make it. Right? Yeah. Jennifer saying, Coriander said, not bad.
Oh, no.
Let's
Yeah.
see. We got Craven Something Scary's in the chat. My man Steven saying, hey,
Hello.
Night and Coriander. Stopping by to say hello. What's going on, man? Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you.
Great.
Happy New Year, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the end of the movie, Coriander. It's
Thank
pretty
God.
straightforward. Now, here's the
Right?
question. This is what we always
What?
talk about, and I know my man Dan, if he's still in the chat, he has referenced this because we have talked about it in many episodes all across our different series of movies on the channel. But dark territory is a dark place to go to, and we have
Yeah.
gone there on a few
We've gone
occasions.
We have. It's
Hmm.
crazy. Kind of, yeah. Yeah. That's all
So
I have to
here's
say.
here's my question, and I want to put this up for you guys to see. These are the episodes that we've done specifically in Slasher Movie Club, except for we Sisters and Toolbox Murders and Driller Killer was on our old channel, and unfortunately we lost those
And
episodes, but we will do
and
those
those are
again.
all great movies.
They
So,
were. But
yeah.
I want to show this to you guys so you guys can see some of the episodes, or I should say all of the episodes that we've done up until right now with Splatter University. Here's a question for you, Coriander, and then I'm going to ask a question of the chat. Coriander and we know we've talked about Don't Go in the Woods. I'm going to play this again. We know we talked about Don't Go in the Woods Alone. That was dark, dark, dark territory. Is
Yeah.
this movie worse than that? And we talked
You
about
know,
Madman as well. Student Bodies was rough. So how do you rate this movie compared to those?
this one is, you know, not the worst out of them.
Okay. All
You
right.
know, this movie didn't like piss me off like Student Bodies did, and and so yeah, what can I
All
say?
right.
You know.
All right. Now, here's my question to the chat, and you guys know how this goes. With the movies that I've shown you, can you guys give me your opinion of what you think was Coriander's favorite episode we did? Favorite episode we did on Slasher Movie Club. And again, here are the the nominees. Terror Train, Schizoid, The Burning, The Prowler, Maniac, Just Before Dawn, Hell Night, Road Games, Madman, The Slayer, Double Exposure, Pieces, Mortuary, Sweet 16, and have you guys write the name of that movie in the comment section. I just want to see what people think. And if enough people actually guess it, I just want to do this thing. It's a new tool. There's a new thing we're going to be doing soon, but it's kind of like a test run. But I just wanted to see what people think and also to do this random picker thing. But anyways, um, yeah, this movie was rough. I will say this that it had it had some moments. The ending actually was pretty good. I will say the ending was pretty good. So I guess that's a
It was
great
good
thing.
when it ended.
Well, oh man.
I'm
But this
sorry.
but this was not Don't Go in the Woods Alone. This was not.
Yeah.
This was not. So I will give it some credit. And Forbes Riley, I think she was really good as a final girl. I would have loved to seen her in a movie where they had the bigger budget. That's the other thing too, and we're going to talk about that in a second. A bigger budget and also more time because the production of
Was
this
she in a
film,
lot of movies after this?
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
don't
because
think
she
so.
really, I mean, it's not like her acting was that great, you
Well,
know.
I think this was also one of
But
her first movies too. But
yeah,
she's actually pretty famous now. She's an author, an
she
award
is.
winning. Yeah, she's an award winning
Oh,
author. She
good for
also
her.
has done some different things where she's you know um, different products and stuff like that. But anyways,
Hmm.
she's actually very very successful now and great for her, man. Because like I said, everyone has to start somewhere. So and
Yeah,
also
true.
with the yeah, everyone has to start somewhere. Also with the director Richard Haynes, I believe this was like his either his first movie. He was just out of school, film
Oof.
school. I think he was a
Yeah.
couple years out of film school, and they didn't have a lot of money, so it is what it is.
Hmm.
Um, so let's see what these guys are saying in the chat. I knew this might be interesting. Of course, Patrick's saying don't go in the woods alone. No, Patrick, that was not her favorite. Come on, man. Oh, Patrick, I love you, man. Neil saying it was the Prowler. Neil, you know what? And I've already said this to Neil because and we've been lucky enough to have some of you guys on as special guests, and we want to do that some more. We've had Neil on, we've had Patrick on,
Yeah.
and we want to do that some more this year, and we want to get Dan on and
Join
stuff like
us.
that. But Neil's
Right.
like, it was the Prowler because that's the one you were with us on, Neil. It was a great episode, though. It was,
And a good movie.
and a
The
great movie.
Prowler's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Jennifer is voting for Maniac. All right.
Mm.
Blucka is voting for Sweet 16. All right. Marion is voting for Pieces. All right.
Ah.
And Stephen, Coriander's favorite must be Too Scared to Scream. I'll be there.
Uh, besides the soundtrack, I did enjoy that
It
movie,
was a good movie.
right?
Mr. Dan Sam Prowler. Oh, well,
Wow.
wow,
Mhm.
I'm surprised. Uh, Steven saying, everybody like this video. Let's give this the love it deserves. Hey, man,
Ah,
you're all right,
you're
man.
awesome.
You are very
Right.
cool, man. We appreciate all you guys, anyways. But definitely, please hit the button. That would help support the channel. Um, Pat, okay, Patrick, you're following Neil here. He's saying Dark Knight of the Scarecrow because that's the one he was on with us too. You guys are too funny.
But
Uh,
that was a good one too.
it was
So
a good one. Jake
y'all are
saying,
picking great ones.
yeah, Jake saying I would have to say the Prowler. Wow.
Ooh,
So the Prowler has 3
I
votes,
know.
although Neil might count as 2. So the Prowler is. All right. Well, let's do this. Coriander, how about you let them know what was your favorite episode and why?
Okay, so this movie I was trying to get Knight to watch forever, even before we started this channel, because we're such Bill Paxton fans, and it is Mortuary. Yeah,
Yes. All right. So it was
yeah.
Mortuary. That was the
And
answer.
Christopher George, yeah, and his
Yes.
wife, and
Yes.
yeah, great
Yes.
movie.
Absolutely. So let's do this too. This was funny. You guys know how we usually rate these things. We've been trying to do this in the last several episodes of Slasher Movie Club, but this is our rating system. We've got buy it, rent it, maybe rent it, or forget it. So Coriander, without further ado, what are you voting for?
Burn it! Is that one? Burn it!
Come on. Man. All right, so you're going with a forget it.
Yeah, man.
Look, if you are the type, this slasher movie is not for everybody. Okay, so let's
No.
just throw that out there. You have to have a certain disposition. If you like Troma films, which some of you guys in
Then
the
you
chat
probably
do,
may, yeah,
then you
probably would
probably
like
are going
it.
to like it because it has that sleazy, gritty, like off
Yeah.
kilter type of vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll probably enjoy it. But for me, I gotta agree, man. I gotta go with a forget it. It just didn't have enough to put it over the top for me. Um, as a fan of slasher movies, I'm glad I saw it because I did know of the movie but had never
Sure.
seen it. So I'm glad we were
Right.
able to actually watch it and kind of have it under our belt. You know,
Mm.
uh, Jennifer is saying I own it on VHS. That is awesome.
Nice.
All right, very cool. Neil saying I was typing burn it just as Coriander said it. Oh
Oh,
God.
nice. Good one.
Steven saying, forget it. And
Yeah.
Jennifer, wow, cool pick, Coriander, talking about Mortuary. Uh,
Yeah.
Marion saying, I should have known. I watched it and you both gushed over the late Bill Paxton, right?
Yeah.
We did, man. We really did.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Paxton was just amazing. Um,
Right.
we also have a couple of, and I just want to go through this real quick, but we do have a couple of quick little behind the scenes things. And there was some behind the scenes stuff on this movie
Oh,
that
yes.
kind of gave you a sense of what was going on. We talked,
Mm.
jeez, you're like, ah,
I didn't know we
gee.
were going to still do this.
Well, I just want to talk about just these couple of quick things.
Okay.
The first behind the fact that we have is on the shooting schedule because this kind of shows why the movie came out the way it did, and that's why I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about it real quick. So, shooting schedule,
So the movie was shot in 1981. The running time was around 65 minutes. And additional scenes with the students they filmed in 82. And then it was, and that they did that just to add to the running time. And it was released
right?
2 years later in 84.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean,
So,
and you can kind of the point I wanted to make was is you can kind of tell when you watch the movie because the first scene in the mental hospital, it has like a totally different tone to the rest of the movie. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
like
Like, I
it's
didn't even, did they even, I guess towards the end when they said he escaped out of the mental place,
yeah.
but it really didn't make sense with the movie.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
didn't.
what's the point of this shit?
Yeah,
Come
because
on,
I
man.
mean, the priest or the guy,
Mm,
he escaped from the men. He's the person who escaped, and he
yep.
went to the school and he impersonated, this dean. But it's like,
Yeah.
first of all, how can you do that? Like you're at a college. How do your references not get checked and all this type of stuff? So, anyways, it was just really it was odd, man. It was odd. But
Yeah.
and I know there's movie logic to a lot of these movies, but this one just was too much for
And
me.
can I just say, since we're talking facts, and this guy up, you had that picture up of the father, what the hell's his name, Jensen or whatever.
Yep.
Um, he was actually the director who had to play this scene because the actor who was supposed to play this priest didn't show on the
Oh
day of
wow.
shooting.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
so
All
that
right.
was the director right there. Yeah.
And also I wanted to talk about what the original title was. This was kind of interesting.
Thou shall not kill.
All right. So obviously they went with the right title because it's like I don't know about that as a title. That one's just not kicking it for me,
Well,
man.
you got it running by priests,
Yeah,
so
but
why
but it,
not?
it definitely would have even narrowed it even more to who the killer is to me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you
So,
think? Hmm.
well, to me.
Well, they're
Miss
at a Catholic university, or
Well, I
I don't know if it
know.
was Catholic, but it was
I
something.
know, but yeah, it just yeah. Miss Carter saying a major stinker in my book, 1 star. All right. All right. Jake saying, I've never seen or heard of Forget It. Is it worth watching? Uh no. That
Yeah.
that
To
is a
say you've
no.
seen it, I guess, but is it worth it? Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, forget it. To me, when we talk about these, like a buy it means that we just thought it was a
Oh,
wonderful movie. It was
yeah.
really, really great. So it's our highest score. A rent it is obviously below that, meaning that it wasn't that bad. Um, but it's not great. Maybe rent it means that, if you got some time on your hand, and if you're the type of slasher fan that pretty much, can enjoy anything, that's what that means. And a forget it means that you just don't recommend it. It's just at the bottom of the heap. But
Mm.
again, there were a lot of budget things going on with the movie, so I understand it. Let's see. Dan saying coriander's size crack me up. Right, right. Yeah, exactly.
It's just so
Exactly.
disappointing because you're
Yeah.
thinking, you go into these movies and when they're
Yes.
shit, it's just like, man.
Yep.
But
Uh,
anyway,
Neil saying, to be honest, bad movies can be really fun to talk about. It's true.
true.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very true because and even with bad movies, sometimes there's stories about them that can be kind of interesting as
That
well.
kind of
Like,
puts why it's such a shit movie.
yeah,
So
yep,
yeah.
yep. And Jake was also talking about the fact that the director played one of the priests in the movies. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, he did.
Jake saying Coriander took the words right out of my mouth. Laugh out loud. Right? Let's see. Keon's in the chat saying, "Yo, what's going on, man? What's going on? How you doing?
Hello.
Nice to see you." Let's see. Jennifer saying, "Mine too, Dan. Her sigh is wonderful." Yeah,
Oh, jeez, you guys. I'm
it
glad
tells
you
you
enjoy
enough,
it.
right?
Oh man.
But anyways, guys, yeah, that's pretty much all we've got for Splatter
All right.
University. It was
Mm-hmm.
it was just one of those movies, man. Not the worst of the worst, but
Nope.
definitely not at the top of the heap. So,
Yeah.
I and again, and actually one more thing. There is one more fact I want to throw out there. And you were talking about it at one point, Coriander. The filmmakers, I think that was like the fifth fun
Yeah.
fact.
Okay. Yeah. The filmmakers were originally told they'd have 2 weeks to shoot at Mercy College, but the school cut their time by a week. Filming was, and they were filming during spring break.
Right. Yeah, and that
Yeah.
was one of the things. It's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense because look, you could tell that some of these takes in the movie, they were just they must have been the first take. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh,
Yeah.
we got it. That's done. We got to move on. We got to move on. We don't we
Right.
don't have a lot of time to fool around. So like
Like they'd
that's
even
you know.
the crew and shit would be sleeping at the university. They'd be staying
Yes.
there so that they could get
Yes.
this shit done in time.
Right. Yes. Oh man, I'm telling you. But anyways, so let's talk about what we got for next week. Next week,
Yeah.
again, this is another movie I haven't seen, and I believe it's available on Tubi. Yes, it is available on Tubi. Silent Madness. Silent Madness. That will be our
I
next
haven't seen
episode.
this one,
Me
so
neither.
hopefully it's better than this.
We can only go up from here, right?
We think that, but then we get these pieces of shit, and it's like, damn, another one.
Oh man, I tell you. But yeah, so for next week, Silent Madness, it's free on Tubi. So we hope you guys can take a look at it. That way you'll be able to join us in the discussion. By the way, thanks to Miss Carter and a couple of you guys that were able to watch this movie,
Yeah,
Splatter University. We really appreciate it because that's what we really
that was
hope.
the whole point of this.
Yeah, that's what we really hope to do with the Slasher Movie Club is to have you guys checking out these movies along with us. And
Yeah,
this particular movie was free on YouTube. So, these
right?
movies, we try to make sure that they're readily available for people to watch. Let's see. Steven saying, have a great night, guys. Night. I'll see you on Friday for the Lethal Collective live stream. You know it, man. You know it. It'll be a fun time, brother. Patrick is still talking about his coffee. Patrick, you haven't finished that coffee yet? I mean, come on, man. We're 47 minutes into this episode. I'm just joking, Patrick. I'm
Oh
joking.
no.
But anyways, guys, so next next week we're going to be doing Silent Madness. It's free on Tubi. Hope you guys get a chance to watch it and discuss it with us as we head on out. Jennifer saying a movie I've not seen and love. Maybe next week you won't break my heart. Oh gosh.
Ah, I'm not trying to break your heart. Oh dear
Oh,
God.
Jen. Oh,
Everyone
Jen.
has different tastes,
Yes.
and that
Yes,
doesn't
that's
mean that
true.
you're any less of, a horror fan or whatever you want to say,
That's
but
right.
no.
That's the beauty of the genre. There's so much, and what we're trying
Yeah.
to do is we're going back in time and checking out a lot of these more obscure, sometimes underrated movies. And look,
Yeah.
you're gonna find movies that you like and movies that you don't. We're talking about
Yeah.
movies that are almost 40 years old, so that's just gonna
Mm.
happen. But I will say, even for these movies that weren't enjoyable, it was fun to just go through them because every time I
Yeah.
watch a movie I don't know of, I'm just excited. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen here? And that's the beauty of
Yeah.
movies. So
Yeah. And to each
absolutely,
his own.
yeah.
Who am I to judge because you like it and I don't?
Yeah, we're
So,
just
hey,
people. We're just people with opinions, just like you
yeah.
guys. So, Patrick saying, "I'm
Right.
getting welcome to Willits." Yeah, man.
Right.
All right. Miss Carter saying, "No need to thank me. I'm always up for checking out '80s horror." That's what I'm talking about.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And
Yeah.
Jennifer saying, "I'm just teasing, guys." I know, I know, I know.
Right?
You've got a good sense of humor, Jen. All right,
Yeah.
guys. So, anyways, that's about all we got. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like the video.
Yeah.
Also, in the comment section, let us know what you thought about the movie. And if you're a fan of this movie, like you, Jen, or any of the other folks like Jake,
Let
let
us
us
know
know
why.
why. Because
Right.
here's one thing I do want to say. And for people that remember this episode, obviously it was a while back now, but when we reviewed Just Before Dawn, that is an excellent example of a movie that the first time I watched it,
For
like,
both of us, then. Yeah.
yes, you too, yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I
Mm-hmm.
watched it, I was thinking, that wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great to me. The second
Mm-hmm.
time I watched it, I was like, this movie is amazing. And
Yeah.
when we did that episode, the Just Before Dawn episode, I was raving about it. But that's an
Yeah, you
example
were.
of a movie that on a second watch, it can get better. And I'm sure there's
Yeah.
movies that on a second watch it can get worse too. But I
This
guess,
one, I hate to say it,
well,
but I
probably
will
not.
not be watching it again.
Right. But I'm just saying is that, there are some movies that after a while you can really come to enjoy. So that's the beauty of movies to me.
Like
So,
me with Halloween 3. I mean,
man,
eventually.
so many conversations where I was like, you got to watch it. No, I don't want to. Da, 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 da. Oh man, that was a fun
Yeah,
episode.
that
You
was
guys, but
my mistake.
if you guys have not seen that episode that we did on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, it was so funny. So, anyways, we will catch you guys next week. We do
Yeah.
have a couple of new things coming up that hopefully you guys will enjoy. I know Miss Carter is looking forward to us getting back into Jason. We'll be doing that.
Yes, I
A
was just gonna
return.
say I can't wait
Yeah.
either.
A return to Camp Crystal Lake. So that's going to be fun.
It's about
And
time.
We got some surprises for you guys, so stick around, stay tuned. If you're watching
Yeah.
this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace out, guys. Happy New Year. Rest in peace to Betty White. Peace.
Apçıçkına